Hi guys, it is Mr. Fed. Welcome back to the channel. I am back in the man cave with a quick vinyl pickup video. At the turn of the year, my wife asked me, Mike, what is your New Year's resolution? And I said, my New Year's resolution in 2026 is to buy more vinyl. My wife looked at me and said, ooh, I don't really think that's a proper New Year's resolution. And I said, well, I think you'll find it is. So I'm making a concerted effort to go out and buy at least one record a month, but preferably 2 or 3. Because I really regret selling all my physical music. I had thousands of CDs, and about 3 years ago I sold them all, just gave them away to Music Magpie, because I thought that having sort of streaming Spotify music, that I had all the music at the tip of my fingers that I wanted, and I would probably just listen to more music. But that's not the case at all. Since I've sort of gone to streaming services, I actually listen to less. I don't listen to as much music as I used to. There are some albums which I had in my CD collection, which I've all but forgotten about. I mean, it used to really be helpful to me to have that visual reference of the records that I had. And I used to scroll through them and I used to think, well, I haven't listened to that record in a while, I'll give that a listen to. But without that visual reference now, I've completely forgotten about some of the albums that I owned, and I just don't listen to them anymore. And I find myself listening to the same old playlists over and over and over again. Equally, when I do put an album on Spotify, I find that I don't pay enough attention to it. I find myself doing other things. I find myself sort of leaving the room. I find myself maybe doom scrolling on my phone. But when I put a CD on, or when I put a record on, for the 40, 50 or 60 minutes, so the duration of that CD or record, I do find myself giving it my 100% undivided attention. So there are lots of different reasons why I'm kind of shunning streaming services now, and I'm going back to physical music. And part of that journey is sort of topping up that vinyl collection again. So I've got 2 records to show you. Let's get straight into it, shall we? The first record I got was my favourite AC/DC album. My favourite AC/DC album being this one here. It's 1983's Flick of the Switch. Now this is a record that for casual AC/DC fans, it kind of just flies under the radar, because it came after their 2 kind of heavy hitters, didn't it? Back in Black and For Those About to Rock. Now, For Those About to Rock, I mean, that had all sorts of kind of pomp and pageantry about it, didn't it? With big old cannons and stage shows and things like that. But they were, after those 2 big world tours, those 2 big albums, they were contractually obligated to release another album. So they were tired. They went back into the studio after those massive world tours. They were tired. And this album, I mean, it is stripped down AC/DC at its very best. I mean, they just go straight back to those heavy, iconic, thumping riffs that AC/DC are known for, and they do it incredibly well. Rising Power, Flick of the Switch, Nervous Shakedown, Bedlam in Belgium is probably my favourite track on this album. But the whole album is, it's all killer, no filler. There's not a bad track on it. And it's very surprising, really. They're going back into the studio, probably not at their creative peak, but they just did what they were so good at doing. As I said, thumping riffs. So this is a 50th anniversary edition. And obviously this album isn't 50 years old, so I think it's celebrating 50 years of AC/DC. It's actually a gold record. Now, I'm going to show this to you because I absolutely fell in love with it. Obviously you get an extra inlay that will make a cool framed poster on anyone's wall, or it's reversible. If you fancy, is it Angus Young, you can have him framed on your wall as well. I love that inlay. And this will tell you all about here. Got some nice written text about the release of the album at the time in 1983. And if you flip it over, you've got some newspaper cuttings. I don't know if you can see that because the light in this room is not that good, and my phone isn't that good either. But there's plenty to read, plenty to read. There's one thing I like about records or CDs is that you've got something to read. You don't have that on a streaming service, do you? So let's have a look at this record then. As you'll see, it's very, very impressive indeed. Look at that gold vinyl there. Now, most coloured vinyl I have bought tend to have that kind of transparency about it. It's almost see-through. But this record here, I mean, if you look at it, I can barely see the grooves in it. It looks like a solid lump of gold. It really is an impressive sight to behold indeed. So I bought this from HMV. I paid £40 for it, brand new. HMV is just a very easy, convenient place for me to get my records. Now I could have got it off the internet online for 33. I think I found it cheapest for £33, but for the ease and just like being able to have it in my hands, I was quite happy just to pay the extra £7 and buy it from HMV, to be honest. So that is AC/DC Flick of the Switch, my absolute favourite AC/DC album. I'm not a massive AC/DC fan, to be honest. I mean, you know, they're a kind of band which I'm kind of a bit of a casual fan of them as well. They're not always my favourite. Certainly they've done some not so good albums, but Flick of the Switch, if you're a hard rock kind of rock and roll guy, I would pick Flick of the Switch over Back in Black, and for those about to rock, and even Highway to Hell, I would pick Flick of the Switch over that as well. So really happy to have this one back in the collection. I did own it on CD back in the day, but as I said, I'm going to have to start rebuying some of my favourite records that I used to own to rebuild up that physical collection again, and really kind of invest time listening to music properly rather than just, you know, throwing on playlists. So I told my wife I was going to buy one record, but as I was flicking through, I came across this, and there is absolutely no way that I could have left HMV without buying this one as well. So this is an album called I Want Blood. It is a solo album by Jerry Cantrell. Now, if you're not in the know, I know what you're thinking. Mr. Fed, who the feck is Jerry Cantrell? Well, Jerry Cantrell is the songwriter and the chief extraordinaire behind the 90s metal grunge band Alice in Chains. Now, Alice in Chains are easily one of my top 3 metal bands of all time. Now, this solo album actually kind of went under my radar because I don't follow music news as closely as I used to. This came out in 2005. Now, this is essentially an Alice in Chains record in all but name only. Jerry Cantrell has gone back to those absolute killer thumping metal harmonized riffs that Alice in Chains are so well known for. And to me, I'm listening to this, I'm like, well, this is practically the next Alice in Chains record in their discography, isn't it? So let's have a look. I've listened to it once. I definitely need to give it another playthrough, but for all intents and purposes, I absolutely love it. So if we open this one up, again, you get a nice little inlay, so that will make a nice little framed poster on someone's wall if you can be bothered. Open it up, there we go. I think it's got all the lyrics and all the writing credits there inside, which again is something I absolutely love with my music, and it's something that you don't get on streaming services anymore. What I really like about this record here is the inlay cover. It's got that one of those little see-through clear plastic windows, which I love in my records. So if we get this one out, this was a real surprise because I was expecting it to be black, but in theme with the album, this one is actually red, and I think it's the first red record that I've ever owned. And much like Flick of the Switch, again, there's no transparency in this record. You know, all previous coloured albums have all been kind of slightly see-through, but this is just a quality, thick lump of red vinyl. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic when you see it spinning on that turntable. You know, it almost mesmerizes you. So again, you know, sitting down, this record, when I play it on my record player, put it on the turntable, it has my absolute undivided attention for the duration that I need to give it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not doom scrolling on my phone. I might be having a beer, but, you know, outside of having a drink, you know, I'm listening to this record and I'm tuned into it. This is an absolutely brilliant record for any Alice in Chains enthusiasts. If this Jerry Cantrell solo effort has went under your radar, much like it did mine, I highly recommend you find it. Spotify, or if you're like me, you're building up that vinyl collection, this will make a great addition. Now I paid £40 for this one as well, which isn't so bad because this is actually a double album. So it comes with another record. So the actual album covers side A, side B, and side C, and then side D I think has a B side on it. So again, I mean, absolute God, look at it, look at it, look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? So 40 quid for that. So I came away from HMV, bought 2 records for 80 quid. As I said, that's about the going rate. I mean, it's only expensive if people aren't willing to pay the money for it, and quite clearly I am willing to pay the money for it. So I will be going back to HMV next month to pick up some more vinyl. But yeah, part of this channel is music, is physical music, is showcasing that vinyl. So I hope you enjoyed having a look at these, and it might maybe kind of trigger you to reinvest some time and some money back into your own vinyl collections. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.